Hey, what's up, everybody? Bill Allen with Seven Figure Flipping, and I've been waiting a while to make this video about the Paycheck Protection Program forgiveness because so many changes have happened. We saw the 11-page document come out, the application for forgiveness from the SBA, and then there was a whole bunch of videos that people were making and talking about it, and then Congress had a plan to extend the length of time for the covered period. All this stuff was happening, and every one of the videos I made on the CARES Act so far has been obsolete the next day. So I'm hoping that we've got some stability now. And as of June 3rd, Congress has done some planning and some revisions and things and have moved it up to the president. So it's at the president's level right now. So hopefully this is current and present. So what I'm gonna talk about today is understanding forgiveness and all the changes that have happened about forgiveness that is really exciting for us as business owners. So if you're in the real estate business or any other business, frankly, small business, and you've got a PPP loan, then this is for you. This video is for you. So stay with me. I'm going to talk through some of the changes. So what it used to be was a 56-day covered period, so 8 weeks. And the downside of this is that we found out about it towards like week 5 and 6 right now of when most people got their money. So you've probably been trying to like jam in a bunch of payroll or covered costs and things like that. So we've gotten some relief. So I wasn't going to be able to use all the money that I got, it looks like. So this is giving us some relief in a longer period of time. So it was 8 weeks, 56 days. 75% of the proceeds had to be spent on payroll costs and up to, no more than 25% on covered costs, which would be mortgage interest, rent, utilities, and any other of the expenses like healthcare and things like that for the business. And then there was some safe harbor provisions on staffing levels and stuff, and the length of time that deferred payments and loans and things. So here's the change that was made. There was also some exciting stuff as far as scrutiny for under $2 million loans. So I'll cover that too. So here's the new changes. So the president is expected to sign a bill approved by both, it's already been approved by the Senate and the House, that makes significant changes to the loan. So here's the changes. They went from 8-week cover period to 24-week cover period. So that is, let me see if I have the number of days here. I don't have the number of days. Hold on one second. Yeah, I thought I wrote that down. Oh, 168 days. So 24-week period, but it's still 168 days. So that covered period can start the day you got the funds, or you could choose the alternative covered period, which you can see in the SBA 11-page application of how that's defined. Basically, it's the first day of the following pay period, like the first pay period, following the loan disbursement that you got. So if you got the loan the day after a pay period, then you can start your alternate period on the next pay period day after you got the loan. But it's still only 168 days from then for payroll costs. So let's see. At least 60% of the proceeds must be spent on payroll costs. So 60% on payroll costs. We still have the $100,000 limit per employee per year, and for cash compensation and things like that. So the other thing is, so no more than 40% of the proceeds can be spent on other costs. What they did was they allowed us to extend the period to 24 weeks, and they allowed us to cover up to 40% of our extra expenses. So if you're a smaller business that has less people on staff, but you have higher expenses like utilities, mortgage interest, rent, things like that that are covered, then you're able to use up to 40% of this for that instead of 25 like before. So it helps some of the companies that have slower payroll costs, and the companies that have bigger payroll costs, you could probably use 100% of your PPP over 24 weeks for just payroll if you don't have a lot of other covered costs like mortgage interest or rent or utilities. So very, very helpful for us. The safe harbor provision on staffing. So really what you have to do is you have to look at that employment from February 15th, or I'm sorry, let's see. I want to make sure that I've got this right, these dates exactly for the covered period. So there we go, February 15th to December 31st, 2019, or January 1st to February 29th, 2020. So you're looking at comparing that to the full-time employees that you have now. So, but you have up to December 31st, 2020 to restore that full-time employment and salary levels for any changes made between February 15th, 2020 and April 26, 2020. So all of this stuff is in the application. It's all in the documentation. I'll put a link to the application, the SBA application, in the description of this video. So you have it, you can download it, you can look through it and all that stuff. I'm also gonna go over today the detailed list of documentation required. So I think that'll be helpful. and you can see kind of what's been forgiven. Then they've also looked, it's a 1% interest rate now, up to 10 months of deferred payments instead of 6. So although the interest will accrue over that period, so that 1% interest will accrue of anything that is not forgivable. And then if for any new loans made after June 3rd, what they did was they said it would be a 2-year maturity. So went from a 2-year maturity to a 5-year maturity. So right now it's a 2-year maturity on your loan. If you get a loan, a PPP loan after June 3rd, when Congress made this change, it'll go to 5 years. So a couple of changes. The biggest change for me is going from an 8-week cover period to a 24-week cover period. It gives us a lot more time to do the application, to run through all that stuff. So very, very helpful for us. What I want to do, I'm not going to go through the whole loan application. I do think that there's probably going to be some changes to the loan application or some guidance, but there's been some other frequently asked questions that have come up, and I'm just going to go through page 10. So here's the documentation for loan forgiveness. So expect to accumulate all these things. So it talks about payroll. So documentation verifying the eligible cash compensation and non-cash benefit payments for the covered period, or the alternative payroll cover period consisting of each of the following. So bank statements, tax forms, payment receipts, canceled checks, things like that. The same thing for the utilities. I'll say that on my utilities, I'm writing checks now to the utilities. So I have some utilities here for the office that are covered. So I'm writing checks. So I have documentation on that and making sure that it's all there. So let's see, documentation showing your full-time employees. So the average number, it's a documentation showing at the election of the borrowers. This is your choice. And this is where I said it's stated right here. The average number of full-time employees on payroll per month employed between February 15th, 2019 and June 30th, 2019. Or the average number of full-time employees on payroll between January 1st, 2020 and February 29th, 2020. Or in the case of a seasonal employer, so if you're seasonal between February 15th, 2019 and June 30th, 2019. So they have a bunch of different options. I'd say go grab the application, read that at full-time employees section C. So, and then non-payroll stuff, mortgage interest payments, rent or lease payments. So copy of the current lease, receipts or canceled checks, verifying it. Business utility payments, copy of the invoices and from February 2020 and those paid during the covered periods, and receipts, canceled checks, account statements verifying eligible payments, all of that stuff. So proving that you've done that. And so it's all pretty much here. It is a little bit overwhelming, 11 pages of application, but it's really exciting news. I think for most of us that we're expecting to use 2.5 times our monthly payroll and the covered expenses in 8 weeks was a challenge for a lot of us. I did the math and I couldn't do it. It's just not possible, even if I kept everybody on payroll, all that stuff. So now having 24 weeks, it lets us breathe a little bit more. We can have a little bit more time to come up with the calculations, understand what's happening, and let things unfold a little bit. Look at the frequently asked questions on the SBA website, all that stuff. So I think exciting stuff. We went from 8 weeks to 24 weeks. That's huge. I think it's really big. So that's what this video is all about. Hopefully you guys found it valuable. If you did, like it, subscribe here on our YouTube channel. We've got a lot of other cool things going on. We've got our 7-day flip series that we're launched right here on YouTube. So you can go to the different section of 7-day flip and you can see Tyler Jensen and his team flipping houses in 7 days. We've got a bunch of other videos that we're creating. I'm also going to do one on the EIDL program and whether you should take the loan or not. So make sure you check that one out. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, share. If this is valuable, share it with your friends. And check us out on 7figureflipping.com. If you're looking for a mastermind or an event or anything like that in the wholesaling, flipping, real estate investment world, then we're your people. So thanks so much for watching this, hanging out with me. Hopefully it's added some value to you and this is helpful. See you soon. Bye.